Hello, welcome back to the Arturia Jupiter-8 video series. Today we're talking about the Arpeggiator. This is this section down here. It's not this sequencer section. Arturia implemented their own sequencer inside this instrument and they have functionality that crosses over. We're not dealing with that today. We're looking at the Arpeggiator that came with the original Jupiter-8 as implemented faithfully in these options down here. The first thing to notice is that ordinarily when we're in a sine mode, we've been dealing with, for the most part, poly mode 1, which is, our nice simple polyphonic keyboard. The moment I activate any of the Arpeggiator options, your assign mode goes out. Doesn't matter what your current selection is, you can't have both these blue buttons and green buttons on at the same time. And the blue buttons operate or activate the 4 modes of the Arpeggiator. So here we're in up mode, and we've set our range to 1, which basically means whatever notes we play, it's going to play those notes over and over again. So range is the number of octaves over which these notes are going to be played. So if I play C, E, G, it's going to play C, E, G over and over again. The rate at which those notes are going to be played is controlled by this slider up here. If I set it to external mode, it'll sync to the host BPM, but if you hover over the slider, you see it says 160. Our host BPM is 120. The moment I pick this slider up and begin to move it, it switches display. It doesn't automatically update the IntelliSense. Not great. So now when I'm moving this slider, we're moving in fractions of tempo. Go back to internal mode. It still says tempo until we click it and drag it, and then we're back in internal mode. If I switch to range 2, it's now going to play those notes over 2 octaves. C, E, G. And it remembers the order in which you play them. So if I play E, C, G, once I've got notes held down and the arpeggiator's up and running, if I introduce new notes, it will add them to the list and play them as soon as it can. Take the B away, goes back to original sequence. Down mode is a little unusual in that it inverts everything. So if I play E, C, G in down mode, what we're actually going to get is G, C, E. It's basically going to play the notes the opposite way around. So E, C, G. Now, wait for it to settle down and hear what it's playing. G, C, E. G, C, E, G, C, E. So G, C, E is the opposite of what I played. That's because when we go to up and down mode, it plays the sequence going up and then it plays the inverse of that sequence going down. Furthermore, and this will take a little while to wrap your head around, it doesn't play the upper and lower extreme notes twice, so you get a wraparound kind of effect that makes it pretty difficult to actually track what's going on. To try to make it simple, I'll play the notes sequentially, C, E, G, try to follow what the arpeggiator's doing. So there's your C, E, G. It doesn't play the upper G twice, it immediately starts playing the notes backwards. And then as soon as it gets to the low C, it doesn't play the low C twice, it starts coming back straight away. Now that's nice and easy to follow when you've got a sequentially ordered set of notes, but the moment you mess with that order of notes, it gets real difficult to follow what's going on. So I'm going to play E, C, G. two effects in play. It's missing out the upper and lower extreme notes, and it's also inverting the order of the notes it's playing when it's going back down. It's actually a really musical. This is why Roland are just so magnificent at this kind of stuff. It's musically creative. The synth is really helping you just be creative because it actually just sounds great. Just seems to do something. It's kind of magical. Absolutely awesome. Random mode will take all of the notes that you've played and basically just chuck them into a big washing machine and spew them out in any order it fancies. So I'll play again C, E, G. Sometimes it's playing the same note twice. And I hardly need to say, range 4 basically does all of that over the span of 4 octaves. Try and follow this one, C, E, G. Bit more release. Suddenly it's too easy. Absolutely fantastic. And that's the Arpeggiator dealt with, short and sweet. I've deliberately, apart from mentioning the fact that there is a sequencer there, we're going to deal with that in a completely separate, isolated component. When we've dealt with the basic Jupiter-8 synth, we'll go on to look at the additional modules, one of which is the Arturia sequencer. Hope you found that useful, and if you did, please consider subscribing, hit notifications, then you'll find out when the next episode comes out. Thanks very much for watching.